Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdogs Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini-episode, today I have another couple of stories, one involving more, news coming from outer space, and another involving members of the U.S. military saying that UFO technology is 1,000 years ahead of us. Both articles are very interesting, so let's get into them now with this article. Are we alone? Fewer Earth-sized planets than thought, says new research. And hear exactly how. Apparently there are less planets that are basically the size of Earth out there, folks, so maybe that means there's less possibility for life. A new study has found that scientists have misinterpreted data from the Transiting Exoplanet Survey satellite tests, which found that Earth-sized planets are actually larger. Scientists have reanalyzed data from the TESS Space Telescope, which is searching for planets outside the solar system. It turned out that nearly 200 planets that were considered similar in size to Earth look different. This may affect the search for extraterrestrial life. Although some of these worlds may be large ocean planets, but this does not mean that there are conditions for life to emerge there. The study was published in the astrophysical journal Letters, writes Space. The TESS Space Telescope detects planets using the transient method. When a planet flies in front of a star, the brightness of the star decreases and the planet creates a shadow. Scientists say that the planet's shadow is measured and thus an idea of its size can be obtained. Thanks to the light of the star that is reflected from the planet, scientists can conclude about the composition of the planet. Scientists have reanalyzed data on planets that have similar composition to Earth as well as a size, but it turns out that light from a nearby star can distort the test data, based on which scientists draw conclusions about the size of a planet. The studies showed that in most cases, planets that were thought to be similar in size to Earth are actually larger than our planet. Astronomers say that judging by the new data, Earth-like planets are less common in our galaxy than previously thought. Scientists believe that previously thought to be Earth-like worlds may be either gas giants such as Neptune and Uranus or large ocean planets or Hyceans. The latter have a composition similar to Earth, and water is known to be the basis for life, but it is not known for sure whether the oceans covering the entire rocky planet have all the conditions for life to emerge. Scientists say the new discovery could impact the search for potential extraterrestrial life, as the number of habitable planets is smaller than previously thought. On the other hand, scientists are currently debating how common the life-supporting Gekians are. Now, scientists are set to conduct a new study of planets previously thought to be unsuitable for life due to their size. They may also turn out to be a completely different size. So that's interesting information, folks. I was always thinking it's spurious to basically, trust the information coming from these satellite scans sometimes, folks. It's far too soon to think that basically the universe is full of planets that could support life. But that doesn't mean that isn't either, folks. They could have made another mistake here. Always remember that, folks. Science, or should I say the scientific method, is always, the purpose of gathering better information, as well as more reliable information, folks. Now, they could have made more mistakes in this study, but until more studies are done and further analysis, we only have to basically say that there's a possibility that there are more life-bearing plants out there, but we just don't know. As I said, folks, these studies are still in their early stages, even if they've been going on for quite a while. Because the universe is a very vast place, folks, and I wouldn't be surprised if a few mistakes are most definitely made along the way. Either way, folks, let's get to the next article. U.S. military, the UFOs are 1,000 years ahead of our technology. And read how the military says that if aliens do exist, their technology is 1,000 years ahead of us, and that's wishful thinking, folks. There's a good chance that alien technology might be, millions of years ahead of us, and that is also an assumption. Until we can actually prove they exist and how advanced they are, we can only basically just, theorize. And this article, it's pretty much a theory on what exactly alien beings are capable of. So let's continue. The Pentagon is increasingly making loud statements, which is evidence of a more serious attitude of the military department to the problem of UFOs. This comes against the backdrop of first-hand reports from U.S. Navy pilots in the press. For example, since 2004, the U.S. military has several times observed unidentified objects in the sky that moved in an inexplicable manner. Heated discussions immediately broke out over whether these were meetings with unknown foreign drones and airplanes or just optical illusions or maybe something else. Meanwhile, some government officials are convinced that such events will have serious implications for security and technology development. Very interesting, folks, and maybe these officials are right on the mark. In a recent television interview with CNN, former U.S. Navy Chief Weapons Specialist Shane Cahill elaborated on a bizarre phenomena he and another pilot observed in 2004. They saw a mysterious object in the form of a tic-tac, which seemed to defy all the laws of physics. In 2004, I was the master of arms aboard the warship Prince. Cahill told CNN, by observing what the unidentified object could do, one could say that at the time we had no protection against it. Indeed, folks, even to this day, I would say that's probably right on the mark. Indeed, if alien technology does exist and these objects are being flown, then yeah, there's nothing we have that could probably or even possibly stop them. Either way, folks, very interesting so far, but let's continue. This strange object seemed to have flown from other worlds. This technology outpaces our arsenal by at least hundreds or even 1,000 years, Cahill said. The pilots had never seen anything like this before. First, the aircraft did not have any control surfaces, Cahill explained. He didn't have any propulsion systems that we could see. He moved at hypersonic speeds ahead of our planes, entering the point of combat patrol. It seemed that he knew in advance where the planes were going. We have no such means and capabilities in our arsenal. Indeed, telling you exactly how helpless we are in the face of the unknown like this, folks. So very, very cool. Can you imagine basically being there, folks? I would say I'd probably be completely terrified. This is the feeling I get from this pilot's description here, folks. I can only imagine, well, he was controlling his fear probably, but he knew that he just couldn't basically, well, do anything to this entity or this ship that he was flying. So very, as I said, very terrifying. But everyone, let's continue with the article now. The news comes after former U.S. Navy Lieutenant Ryan Graves told CBS that he has encountered unusual objects appearing in the airspace over Virginia Beach almost every day for 2 years. Former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence Christopher Mellon, who held important positions under Clinton and George W. Bush, told CNN that the United States should take such events seriously. The fact is that violations of U.S. airspace by unidentified aircraft are constantly being recorded, he said. They have incredible capabilities, perhaps surpassing anything in our own arsenal. Perhaps? I would definitely say so, folks. If indeed these objects are of extraterrestrial origin, then these, well, so-called aircraft, as you put it, are beyond anything we could ever hope to basically, well, combat. Perhaps is not a question. It is the truth. But now, folks, let's finish off this article and talk about what we read. This has only been going on for years, Mellon says, but they began to talk about it only now. This is a serious flaw in our intelligence. After all, we are faced with an unknown threat that needs to be dealt with. I do agree with that, folks. Now, indeed, as I just said, folks, if indeed these objects are of extraterrestrial origin, then there's nothing we can do to combat them or even stop them. We can, though, we can try to basically develop our own countermeasures to them, even hoping to get our hands on technology from them in some manner, either from crashed, well, vehicles, or maybe, well, debris or other junk we find in space. But that, as I said, folks, is just a theory. Now, in the first article we read through, folks, it says that there are less chances that Earth-sized planets exist. That doesn't mean that there's any chance that there's no life out there, folks. I'm just saying, folks, that it just said that there's less Earth-sized planets out there. At least that's what the current theory is. But maybe there is life out there, folks. And with the article we just read through, maybe we can someday go out there and maybe even basically fly, well, wingtip to wingtip with these alien entities. But as I said, folks, that is a theory. I kind of basically also subscribe to the theory that if a culture is 1,000 years ahead of us, it'll take 1,000 years for us to basically catch up to them. So I don't think that's likely in the meantime, because for all we know, these entities are millions of years ahead of us, that I doubt that there's any way we could ever catch up to them. I mean, by the time 1,000,000 years pass for us, these entities will probably basically be, well, space gods or something. But then again, folks, that doesn't mean we don't have hope to basically keep improving in the future, folks. Maybe one day we will catch up to them. But then again, that'll be probably a long time off. But folks, we're at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel, Read Comics That Are Bad For You. You can use the YouTube link down below in the descriptions or the chat to go subscribe to me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Make sure to hit the part of the bell that will give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.